Okay, live from the beautiful Jonas Center in Novato, California. KRCN is on the air and presents the Rotary Club of Novato Meeting Hour.
I would like to introduce my wife, Gloria Dunn Violin, as the newest member of our Rotary Club of Novato. She really isn't a brand new member. I'm happy to say she's coming back after a brief time off. Gloria was very active in her previous time with Rotary of Novato and has already jumped into action, currently serving on 2 committees in our club. That's my wife. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Don. Appreciate that. So Gloria,
Yes, sir.
since you are an experienced Rotarian, some of my induction comments will already be familiar to you, but I'll repeat them anyway as a reminder to all of us why we belong to Rotary. We go through much of our lives deeply focused on career and family. But at some point, we realize that we must give back to society and our community. Rotary is the vehicle that helps us to accomplish together positive changes that we could never accomplish alone.
Mhm.
You have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Novato because of your past commitments to Rotary ideals and because fellow Rotary members believe you to be a leader in your vocation and your community. As such, we look to you to be a liaison between us and other members of your non-Rotary community. While membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege, it involves some corresponding obligations. It becomes your duty to carry Rotary ideals and our principles of service to your friends, business associates, and the community you represent. An important requirement of membership is regular participation in our meetings, our service teams, and our club social events. While we no longer fine our members for missing meetings, you should still attend or make up as many meetings as you can. Make-up meetings at other clubs will create new relationships and help to link us to other clubs in our area. The primary objective of Rotary is service above self, and we expect each member to live up to this ideal. In all our conversations and all of our actions, Rotary members are expected to live by the principles described in Rotary's 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it promote goodwill and friendship? Will it be beneficial to all? One of the great privileges of Rotary is fellowship and the mutual respect which it inspires. We commit ourselves to doing our part to make you feel welcome. New Rotary Club of Novato members are typically presented with 4 items: a red membership badge, so others can easily recognize you as a new member, a list of club activities to guide you to club involvement and service, an assigned mentor to offer support and invite you into club activities, and a goodie bag. Because of your long and active Rotary service, we can't find a mentor who knows more about Rotary than you already do. So no mentor. But I understand that PE Christina delivered to you today a Rotary Club of Novato blue badge and a goodie bag.
Yes, she did.
With today's virtual presentation of these items, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Novato and Rotary International, with the classification of having a life, I declare Gloria Dunn Violin to be a member of the Rotary Club of Novato. Fellow Rotarians, please rise and welcome our newest and most important member, Gloria Dunn Violin. Gloria, would you like to share any thoughts with us?
Well, I'm excited to come back. So thanks for welcoming me back. It's not like I really ever left. I've been attending meetings with my husband, Don, and I've participated in community volunteering, like packing boxes for the Blue Star Moms or attending club events like the Nun Spaghetti Feed. So I've been around and always feel like Rotary's in my heart. So I'm one of those kind. As some of you know, the reason I left in the first place was I was writing a book and I needed to have total focus to get it done. And then I needed to market it and show up to speak and give programs in this new venture of mine. So it was quite, took my time. But now that I have calmed down with this third career, which is on retirement, life and aging, I'm back to Rotary. My previous careers were in organizational behavior for 25 years and public relations for 10 before that. I'm happy to be back as a member. You are extended family, and I couldn't ask for a better group to hang out with. A group of caring, involved people who give in many ways to the community and the world. And I'm proud to be a Rotarian and proud to be a member of the Rotary Club of Novato.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you,
We're all
Gloria.
happy to have you back. And back to you, President Chris.
Thank you, Gloria, and thank you, Ron. That was a great induction, and I really appreciate it. I just need to figure out how to get the spotlight off here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. All right. So once again, thanks for coming back, Gloria, as a member. And as you eloquently said, you really never left, but it's great to have you back in the fold.
Thank you.
Moving on, we've got a couple of recognitions. Robert Marshall.
What are you learning at school?
Yeah, I know. I was just looking for that.
That you don't need
Yeah,
to
I
open
know.
your.
Robert, are you?
Yeah, sorry, it took me a second.
There you are. Okay.
Here I am.
So, Robert, you've got a birthday coming up.
Yep, I do.
Yeah, and any kind of a milestone into this birthday?
Well,
or?
you know, last year was a milestone. Last year was 55, and we were going to have a big old party in middle of March, right after COVID started. So that never happened. So we're going to have a rager this year. We're going to have 4 people over, me, my wife, and my daughter and my son. And we're going to rock it out.
All right.
So
Yeah.
we'll order in takeout sushi, and that'll be it. And we'll turn up the stereo.
Good for you. I'll alert the neighbors, so
Yep.
you know they'll give you some slack on the 23rd of March. So
There we go.
and
I might shave for it too. I don't know. I haven't decided.
okay, yeah. Is that your COVID beard we're looking at? Is that
Yeah, I find that because of COVID, I only shave like once a week now. So
okay?
I got to decide whether that's going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday, or I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's a big decision, you know.
It is. It's a huge decision.
And you know, one of the things that when you were president, you had a meeting, I believe, where it was wear a hat and tell its story, right? And
Yep.
So and you typically wear a hat. So tell us
The alternative is kind of rough.
Tell us a story about that hat that you've got on.
Okay, so this hat actually came from Leavenworth, Washington. It's the same brand that I always wear. It's an Australian Outback hat. I was in Leavenworth, Washington. I think this one was about 4 years ago for an Oktoberfest. And good friends of ours, there's about 8 of us that go. We rent a house and go up on Thursday and hang out in the town on Friday. And then Saturday, we drink beer from noon till 10 o'clock at night. It's a great pacing program. If you're on mark, you can drink 10, 12 beers and never get drunk. But lots of dancing and fun. And there's a hat store there in Leavenworth. And so I saw this one and I didn't have a black one. And I decided I needed to add another one of these Outback Australian hats to my collection.
All right. All right. Well, is this an annual event that you take place?
It was, and we skipped a year right before COVID because too much was going on in our lives, and we said, oh, we'll go the following year, and so then COVID happened, so we haven't made it, and I don't know if they're gonna excuse the dog. I don't know if they're going to have one this year or not. Probably not. So probably next year
Okay.
we'll be going back up there. It's a lot of fun. They actually bring in bands from Germany, and they bring in German dancers, and they do the polka, and they have 4 or 5 tents in different places, and it's a lot of fun. And and I've sent a picture to Larry Harrison of the guy who hosts it. Looks just like Larry Harrison. It's hysterical. I've got a couple of pictures that I've sent to Larry of the guy in his Bavarian hat doing his presentation. I'm like, Larry, what are you doing here?
Poor guy. Oh.
Yeah.
Great. That's great. Well, have a great birthday.
Thank you.
What a lucky dude.
We're
Yeah,
glad
you
you're gonna
are,
have
Larry.
that Rager, and we're happy that you'll be with your family. So good.
Okay, well, we'll send out Zoom links to everybody. So anybody who feels like they want to see this Rager, we can, no, just
Okay.
kidding.
Okay, great. Okay. All right, and Debbie Brusatori. Do you want to unmute, Debbie?
I'm unmuted.
Okay, great. So Debbie, you've got a birthday coming up at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, the last day. Thank God it wasn't the next day.
Yeah. And what do you have planned for your birthday?
Just to be with my family, probably up in Petaluma.
Okay, yeah. And are you planning any trip to Arizona for spring training this year?
Oh my God, I miss that so much. This is the second year now. I'm going through withdrawal, but thank God the Giants were on TV last night.
Uh-huh, yeah. How'd they do?
I fell asleep, so I don't know how they did. You can tell I'm getting old, right?
Oh, that's okay. It's good to see you. I'm glad that you are joining us, and I'm glad you had an opportunity to lead us in the pledge today.
Thank you.
And we hope you have a great birthday. And
Thank you.
And everything in 2021 will be smooth sailing for you. So,
Thank you so much.
good. All right. Okay, so we're going to move to our speaker, and I'll ask Sonia Seaman to do the introduction. Sonia?
Okay, I've unmuted myself. First, I wanted to announce that Greg Nelson, who was going to join us today, also had a medical emergency, so he will not be speaking today. And we certainly hope he'll be with us very shortly and to give an update of the Jonas Center. But we're very fortunate to have Anna Pillitson. She's the College of Marin's Director of School and Partnership. And she will be here to give us hopefully a quick update on the campus and the opening of the campus, if there is any new info on that. Anna joined the College of Marin in 2010 with a background in commercial banking, educational nonprofits, and service on a local school district board of trustees. Currently, she leads a team of school ambassador or student ambassadors and four full-time coordinators supporting a wide range of student populations. Her key programs include signature initiatives within much broader equity-centered work. Anna's informed me that she has to leave right at 1:30. So if you have questions, she's okay if you interrupt her with a question you may have. Welcome, Anna. Are you unmuted now?
Hopefully unmuted, but thank you for that lovely introduction. It's so good to be with everybody here, and we are sorry that Greg can't be with us today, but I know that we can reschedule that, and he is the resident expert. But I did a little bit of homework, and so I can at least talk a little bit about the projects and then answer probably some general questions. I'd like to add to the bio that actually we are now proud Novato residents. We moved here about 1.5 years ago, just before the pandemic. And I have to tell you that we just have enjoyed so much the small town feel that Novato has, and have just lovely neighbors. And so, yeah, we're really, really happy about that. So I wanted to cover a little bit of general information, but allow some time for questions both on the programming, but also in terms of the Jonas Center and Indian Valley. So if I can just share my screen for just a second, and I am one who is not a fan of death by PowerPoint. So let's see if I can find. And I did these only just to give you something else to look at while we're in motion. All right, so let's see if I can do it this way. And I had this problem yesterday. Let's see if I can get this just to expand a little bit. All right. Well, not sure why. Oh boy, I had this problem. Can you see? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's see. Let's do this. I apologize. I was in a Zoom call earlier and then my internet just cut out all of a sudden. I'm not going to waste any time. So I'm just going to leave this, this slide up. And I just really wanted to provide some updates really in the time of COVID and to thank you all for this opportunity to be here. So let's see if we can advance this. So let's do that. All right, well, I guess it's not going to, here we go, let's see. Sorry, it's not going to cooperate, which is fine. And so I'll just talk through. As you can imagine, about a year ago, we got the news that we are going to be closed for several weeks. And we all looked at each other and said, what are we possibly going to do for 3 weeks? What we found in the first 3 weeks of classes is that a lot of our students were missing in action. And I wanted to tell this story because I think it really describes the culture of College of Marin, that within our dean's group, we asked the academic deans to go to all of their faculty and ask for lists of students who had not been seen in 2 or 3 weeks. And our own team of student ambassadors in our office, as well as other student services staff, took the time to call every single student on that list. And there were about 300 at that point, and we knew that in fact that probably wasn't complete. But we called every single student and every student that we were able to contact, shared information. It was basically, we just want to check in to see how you're doing and if there's anything that we can do to help. For those that we couldn't reach, we sent emails and texts, and then basically found, not as anyone was surprised, that a number of students lacked the technology to stay connected to their classes. And beyond that, had complications in either having to take care of younger siblings, having to take care of parents, having to either find a job or continue working to put food on the table. And so we knew that it was not just academic support, but it was basic needs. And I just wanted to say how proud I am of the effort that the college made and continues to make for all of our students to provide as much as we can so that they can stay engaged and stay connected. And we recognize that it's not just academic loss and vulnerability, but it's also the emotional and mental health issues. And so we're doing all of those kinds of things for our students. So laptops, hotspots, cleaning supplies, we had kind of drive-through pickup for students that was all socially distanced. But the good news is that this year has given us a number of silver linings. I think with being online, we've taken a very hard look at how we use technology and how we should use it for what it was intended. And that's to expand the access for students out there who transportation might be a barrier. And by offering our programs online, that it enables a lot more students to be able to participate in our programs. And so we see that as a silver lining. We know that some of the online courses and events which are done on Zoom, we're going to continue that practice because we realize that to drag people out of their homes at 5:30 or 6 o'clock to go to a workshop is not always the most convenient. And so that way they'll have the option. And so once again, silver lining. The number of high school students that are taking classes with us has increased dramatically. I think we've all heard about Zoom fatigue. We probably all have that. But students in particular who are lacking the interaction have found that taking a college course gives them a different perspective. They earn college credit, we cover their tuition fees, and they walk away with college confidence and competence as well. So that's a really good thing. We've expanded our career programs, tying them much more closely to recent labor market information. We know that some people need to retool very quickly. We're offering short-term training programs that can be done basically in 3 or 6 weeks. And people could come in and learn new skills very quickly and be job ready for some of the new jobs that are out there. So, you know, I think that it's been a pivot in many ways, not just to online, but to providing programs and services that really serve students with what they need and what they need now, and in a modality that works for them. We spent a lot of time providing training for all of our faculty members so that they could be certified in distance education. It was a shift for all of them. And the fact that overnight we were online. And so we actually provided a stipend for our faculty. The vast majority have participated. We're going to offer another round over the summer and then also in the fall for our new faculty. So that way we have the best opportunity for them to utilize the technology as effectively as possible. And we have a combination of a very limited number currently of hybrid courses, but those are mainly chemistry labs, visual arts classes that you just can't duplicate online. But primarily it's a choice of either synchronous or asynchronous online courses. So students either wake up and 10 o'clock, they've got to be on Zoom because that's where the lecture is, or they're recorded lectures that students can access anytime, whenever it's convenient. Summer will be online as well. We run a summer session. It's a reduced schedule, but all of our courses will be online. And the fall is kind of everybody's guess. Our faculty currently are submitting their schedules and indicating whether they'd like to be hybrid, synchronous, or asynchronous. It'll be their call. And then we hope to post our schedules for both summer and fall the first week of April. And so students will be able to choose a selection of whatever works best for them. And fingers crossed, you know, I don't know that anybody knows at this point what we're going to look like in August, in late August. You know, I think that the percentage of vaccines, the overall infection level, and if we're in the orange tier, what that might mean in terms of social distancing. I think we've all heard that the K-12 school sites are opening. Many of them are fully open. We've heard from Superintendent Mary Jane Burke at the county office that the goal for all of our districts here in Marin is that they are open as normally as possible by the end of the year, and certainly come back in the fall in the normal face-to-face. So, and we also have heard that for the lower grade students that the social distancing has been reduced from 6 feet to 4, and I believe they're going to move that to 3. Based on the fact that young people, their infection rate is much lower than for the rest of us who are older. And so we get a lot of questions now from our students saying, what's the story for fall? The expectation is because they've heard that the K-12 system is opening and hopes to return to normalcy. Our challenge is that because our students are adults primarily, and we need to adhere to that 6-foot requirement. And most of our classrooms, especially our new construction, were configured for 24 students in a class. That's our standard capacity. And if we do the math and we do the measurements, we can fit 8 people in a classroom if they are 6 feet apart. So that raises challenges for the faculty who will have to deliver a lecture 3 times for 3 cohorts within a class of 24. That's a scheduling issue. It's also a workload issue. And so I think those are all of the questions that are being dealt with by our instructional management team. So we have our fingers crossed that we will have a fair number of offerings that will be hybrid so that students who sign up for a Monday, Wednesday class, their Monday class may be live on campus, might be out in a tent, or might be staggered over a couple of days, and then their second class would be online. But we've got our fingers crossed. We certainly would like to return to normalcy, just like everybody else. Some other examples of the work that we do with K-12 schools. One great example at Novato High, which has a medical careers pathway program. Students enter in 9th grade. Their teacher is actually a registered nurse by training, but is also a biology teacher. So she runs the program, and it's for students who think they might like to be doctors, nurses, dental assistants, dentists, EMTs. And our career department, what we've been doing is linking our classes with what's being offered at the high school. And we've got the perfect kind of marriage with Novato High, that their students in the medical careers pathway in their senior year take our Fire Tech 215 class, which is basically the first phase of first aid as well as EMR training. And so they walk away as seniors with 3 transferable credits from that class and the hands-on knowledge from the course. That's the way that we're building our pathways. That way students have a college experience, they earn college credit, and we're delighted to be able to do that. So that's the kind of work that we do in our office, really putting school sites, community partners, and the College of Marin together. We act more or less like brokers, just to give you kind of an idea. Our community ed program for our lifelong learners, their past term, we had offerings over 100 community ed classes, all online. And so, all of the students in those programs were able to pivot as well to the virtual platform. And we were delighted that that way we're really serving all kinds of learners here in the county. So that's kind of the overview. And as I say, I think the biggest question is what's going to happen in the fall. And believe me, we would like to know as much as you do. And as soon as we know, we will certainly make sure that, and I see that Don and Gloria have raised their hand.
I just wanted you to tell us about our colleges have won the award of being the first in California and 5th in the nation for community colleges. Would you speak to that?
Well, you're so kind to bring it up. I think I was raised to be very modest. It's hard for me to bring that up, but thank you. I will say honestly, just as an employee of the college, that I was absolutely delighted to hear the information from the influencers organization. And I wish I knew exactly how they're formulated and how they actually go through the selection process. But I will say that given the culture at the college, part of me was not at all surprised that the recognition, and I think all community colleges, we have a wonderful chancellor at the state level who is inspiring and who has done great work in helping us to determine what we need to do. But the culture, I'll just give you an example. The work that we do, we come up with different ideas to run programs for youth, whether it's the satellite class that we run at the high schools, like at Novato, or whether we run a program starting in 9th grade for students to get ready for college. And I will say that for all of the ideas that our little group in student services have, when we go to senior management and say, we've got this idea to help students to become college ready, to build college skills, the answer is always, if it's good for students, and hopefully when we're making the presentation, we go in having done our homework so that we know what the scope is, what the intended outcomes are, what the costs are, that the answer has always been, if it's going to be good for students, why wouldn't we try this? So we're big believers in pilots. Really hats off to Dr. David Wayne Kuhn, our superintendent president, Vice President Jonathan Eldridge, who is VP in charge of student learning and student success, and Greg Nelson, in charge of everything that's not student learning and student success, for their being really of the philosophy of the power of yes, that they believe very strongly in our work being totally equity centered, and that's our charter. Community colleges, really designed to be open access, and so I think it's the willingness to take some calculated risks, to try something new, to expand the resources that we have, and to provide the access as much as possible to every student who has the ability to benefit. And I think for that reason, we were probably recognized in that way, along with a lot of other colleges. I read through some of the profiles of other community colleges that were recognized. And I think that's part of it, is that we learn so much from each other. And when we go to these conferences, we come back and say, we'd love to try something like that. And we have other community colleges approaching us and say, how did you develop your summer bridge program? So lots of collegiality. And I think that's probably why, but I appreciate the question. Thank you so much. Let's see, I see something in the chat. active in swimming exercise classes and inbound? When will a swimming pool be open? That is a great question. So, you know, I think this is part of, I think, the questions that we're hearing so much about all of our facilities. I mean, when can we open this up? I know that for our high schoolers, we're going to run a summer bridge program. They're saying, well, couldn't we just be on campus for part of that? We're trying to be very responsible and to be very even-handed, so that if we're going to open up an academic program, that we're going to want to provide that public access to our community members as well. And so I don't really have, I'm sorry that I don't have an exact, I know that that's come up in our meetings as well. Believe me, Ryan Byrne, who is our director of kinesiology, which we used to call PE, and athletics, he's the one asking the questions, because he is responsible for the pools as well as all of our aquatic programs. So I guess my short answer would be, as soon as that we have the clearance to open up to our students, and that's when we're going to start opening up our facilities. So, right. Thank you. And then Chris, I see that Chris. Oh,
Yes, I have a question for you. Actually, a couple of questions for you, Anna, if I may.
sure.
First is our club is interested in seeing if there can be a Rotary club formed in conjunction with
Wouldn't that be great?
College of Marin. And so I'm wondering, how do we go about that? Or is there interest, or is there a need for College of Marin students to volunteer and be a young Rotarian member, which is really what the Rotary Club is?
That's what I was just going to ask, what that is, what that's involving. Our students are always encouraged to perform community service. We view that as part of being a complete person, to share your skills and your resources with others. I think that that's something that I'm trying to think of how, just from a process standpoint, what would be the best approach. Maybe Chris, maybe you and I can talk about that offline. Sure. We, through our student activities and advocacy office, they're really the ones that kind of manage the student clubs and activities and all the resources there. And I know that we also have a club, an existing club, that is social responsibility and awareness. And so they've done great work in identifying community partners. I heard mention of the Blue Star Moms and the service orientation that obviously the Rotarians have. And so that's something that we certainly want to mirror among our students. So Chris, maybe we can talk offline about that.
Sure. And then the second question, my understanding is in the most recent stimulus bill, there was a lot of money allocated for education, including community colleges. And there were some community colleges actually specifically indicated that they received some funding. Has College of Marin received any funding through the stimulus programs to date?
I don't know that we've actually received the funds. I know that we are counting on using those funds. That came up at a very recent meeting in terms of supporting. Some of it is the mitigation in terms of safety equipment and those kinds of things, but as well as scholarships and as well as supporting certain programs. I don't know that the flow has started, and I know that that's true of the K-12 system as well. There are billions of dollars sitting somewhere, and we're certainly as anxious as anybody to get our hands on those so that we can get those dollars in motion. Yeah. Okay.
Other questions for Anna?
And I'm happy to take any questions at this point on the Jonas Center, with the understanding that Greg is really the expert. But I mean, I did do a little bit of homework, and so I'm glad to take any questions.
Okay, I don't see any hands being raised or unmuting going on.
Okay. Okay. And just, I mean, I would just like to say that we so appreciate the opportunity to meet with groups like the Rotary. We've been doing kind of a road show. That's partially our mission within school and community partnerships, is to work with community agencies as well as our school districts because the closer that we work together, that we can leverage our own efforts, and that benefits the county. And so just being able to be in front of all of you, I really appreciate it. I'll put in the chat box my email. Actually, this is kind of a general one, but it comes directly to me. So outreach@marin.edu, that if you have any questions, usually what happens is I click out of something and then I come up with my questions. Feel free to let me know. And then Chris, we can talk about the.
Charlie Voigt has a question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Anna, you've built some of the new facilities have been built there in Indian Valley in addition to the Jonas Center. It looks like there's some classroom additions as well. Do you have any idea how many new offerings might be made in Indian Valley? We live very close, and I just wondered, there's a grassroots group, and I don't know the name of it, but they have been trying to get more programs into Indian Valley.
Right.
I just wondered if some of these improvements will translate into more classroom opportunities here at the Indian Valley campus.
Right. Charlie, thank you. Thank you. It's a great question. So I think, as all of you know, and if you don't, several years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, actually, we moved all of our career programs. So those are the certificate programs up to Indian Valley so that they're centralized on one campus. So that's anywhere from auto tech to medical and dental assisting, the fire tech program, multimedia, and the big auto, both in terms of repair and collision. So all of those are concentrated on the Indian Valley campus, but we've continuously had, I would say, a small series of general education courses that students who are pursuing either an associate's degree or looking to transfer could access at Indian Valley. And so the category is a GETSI, and I can never remember, it's intersegmental, very, very long educational jargon. Basically, a GETSI stands for those courses that are required if you are looking to transfer to either the UC or CSU system. So that way, our northern residents and students from Sonoma could take those English, math, science, fine arts classes and get through those requirements. By building these new classrooms, or certainly renovating the existing classrooms, the thought is we are actually doing that kind of instructional management analysis now about what kinds of offerings that we can expand in Indian Valley. I'll be honest with you. I remember back in the days of Superintendent Jim Middleton, who came up with the idea of the digital village at Indian Valley, and that was a long time ago. Some of you might remember that, and I'm that old. So, and how it was a great idea to build really kind of almost an incubator for small businesses that we would offer space, and yet they would then in turn offer internships. It's interesting that idea has kind of come back. You know, I think that it was a little bit early, 25 years ago, and it might be something that we would be interested in pursuing. So some of that has to do with small business, internships, entrepreneurial ventures. And so there are some very interesting conversations going on along that area. So I think in terms of offerings, yes, we are looking to expand them. Some of them will be a direct result of the career programs that are being offered there. But I think we view this as a venue that should be something that's going to draw people to the site, and so we're yeah. So and it's all under discussion. I know that we certainly welcome input always from our residents about what would meet whatever need. But we're trying to think as broadly as we can. Appreciate the question, Charlie.
Ron Harness has a question.
Yep.
Anna, I'd love to hear whatever information you can share about the Jonas Center.
Let's see. In fact, let me just see. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Let me ask you really quickly. I have a 2.5 minute video, which is a time lapse, and I don't know whether some of you may have seen this. And I didn't want to repeat other things that you might have seen already. But I have photographs and those kinds of things. I once again want to use the time frugally. Or are you just interested more in terms of general? And Rod, did you have specific questions about the Jonas Center?
Well, as far as I'm aware, the building is complete or nearly complete.
Yes, correct.
And so what our interest is when will we have some opportunity to perhaps start there? And I maybe don't know, but if you can share anything.
Yeah, that goes back to the earlier question about the pool. That once again, as we are looking at reopening in the fall to some extent, as whatever that we can do that obviously relates to whatever restrictions are in place at that time. When we get that signal to be able to open up to students, we feel that at that point is when we'll be able to open our facilities for community purposes. So that's certainly been, I've asked the question as well. And that's, I think, the official response. And I think it's just because we just don't know what the fall is going to look like.
Well, thank you, Anna, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And if you would give your address to Sonia, we'll send out a little speaker's gift to you for our appreciation for coming to talk with us today. And we hope to see you again at Rotary Club of Novato and at the Jonas Center. Just for everyone's information, Sonia, Christina, and I will be meeting with the college president and vice president in about a month's time. We've been meeting, trying to meet periodically to monitor when we may be able to hold a grand opening and get into the facility. So we have another meeting scheduled for the middle of April.
That's fantastic. And believe me, we are as anxious for that opening as you are. So, yeah, but thank you so much.
Thank you again, Anna. And
my pleasure.
I really appreciate it. And we will